Sadly, the illness for Clemson fans at the moment is all too real. Welcome to Sportscenter. John Anderson and Scott Van Pelt. The national championship game between LSU and Alabama figures to be a defensive struggle. And there were some that didn't really enjoy that first 9-6 game. They might be clamoring for some defense because these BCS bowl games, John.
So far, lots of offense.
Yeah.
Right. Close games. Yeah. Key missed kicks. Well, the Orange Bowl tonight, West Virginia, Clemson. They did have the offense.
Lots of kickoffs.
The rest of it, not so much. Discover Orange Bowl. Let's discover how many points we can score. First, though, Dabo Swinney firing up his Clemson Tigers.
There ain't no channel flipping tonight. There ain't but one show up. Hey, you either ready for the big stage or you not, because here we are, baby. Everybody got that? You either let your light shine or you hide it. Let's let it shine. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. Everybody, here we go.
All right, so it was a very good speech. It just didn't take. First quarter, West Virginia driving. Geno Smith, pass complete to Andrew Bowie. Bowie nearly tackled by Richard Hall, but he rolls off and just keeps on a run. And look at this one more time. He looks like he's going to go to the ground, but his bum never hits and uses his hand to keep himself balanced, not the elbow, so he gets to just run free a little longer. A couple of plays later, Sean Alston, straight up the middle. Not touched. West Virginia's first touchdown of the half. It's 7-all, so it's important to point out for the folks at Clemson, they did score first. In fact, they were at 14-7 when Tavon Austin goes right side, dives for the pylon. We got a counter. We say that's 2 touchdowns. We look at the replay again. Austin diving. He's inbounds there. Show me the pylon and the ball. Knock it over. You know what that is? Tie game at 14. Second quarter, all Mountaineers. Geno Smith. Little flip to Austin. He gets the corner. Little hesitation. Zip, zip, stays in bounds. West Virginia, the counter now. Listen, if you have a counter, that means there's going to be a lot on your side. Tiptoes along the sideline, stays in bounds. Great play by Austin. Swinney, he's going to talk to his defense, but I'm pretty sure that's a different kind of talk they're getting right there. Ensuing Tigers drive. Now, this is where the game turns. They are threatening to take the lead.
Ellington pounding up the middle. And the ball taken out by West Virginia back the other way. The Mountaineers took it out of his hands. And Darwin Cook is racing for a touchdown. How about that turnaround? Oh, man.
Yeah, we look at this again. There was a lot going on there at the pile. And then all of a sudden, Darwin Cook was away from the pile. And the cameras barely could catch up. And you see the ball comes out from Andre Ellington. That is a turnover. And that is Cook racing 99 yards for the touchdown. High five the Big Orange. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We have abuse of a fruit, and then he wasn't feeling good, and he had to go over there, and, well, he puked. Obi'd be fine, though, apparently. The rest of everybody else in Orange had some tough moments. Geno Smith going to keep that one himself. He's in again. Your TD counter is at 5. It's 35-20, and we still have 2 minutes left. Well, not much can happen there, right? Well, no, Clemson, Taj Boyd pass. That's picked off by Pat Miller. So the Mountaineers set up deep in Tiger territory. This is pleasing to the old grads. It's pleasing to the young lads. It's pleasing to kids who might someday in 3rd grade think about matriculating at West Virginia University. Austin again, 6 TD in the half. It's 42-17. Next Tiger drive. Maybe we should just get to the locker room, shall we? Boyd takes off, scrambles downfield. Ball comes loose again. Another Mountaineer on it. Initially ruled down by contact. You think it's their night? That's going to happen? No, that ball is punched out by Bruce Irvin before Boyd's knee touches down. That is a turnover. Mountaineer football. 2nd and goal. Why don't we get one more here before we go to the house? Alston plows in. 7th touchdown of the half. The Mountaineers set a new bowl record with 49 points in half, 35 in the 2nd quarter. But again, Clemson did score first. McCracken, he had some offensive ball plays that he wanted to still run. Coming out in the 3rd quarter, Geno Smith, Stedman, Bailey. Same old story. Inbounds, pylon, touchdown. That's 8 for West Virginia. That's so many we're losing the counter. What I'm telling you is this is not going to come down to a Bill McKenzie field goal late. Smith, Tavon Austin again. That's 9 touchdowns for the Mountaineers. 4th alone for Austin. We should play the 4th quarter, don't you think? They don't have a mercy rule in these things. Mountaineers deep into the 4th quarter. Willie Millhouse. I'm not sure that kid's even listed in the program, but he got in and scored. 10th TD for West Virginia. 70 points. It's a new bowl record. Baylor, they had the mark for an entire week. Last time West Virginia scored 70 was in a game 80 against Rutgers 2001. The 10 touchdowns ties the record for any bowl game set by Nebraska in 2000. West Virginia basically scores the most points in a BCS game. That's what you want to know. For more on the Mighty Mounts, we go back to South Florida. It's the Ford Postgame Report with Reese, Mark, Dr. Lou.
The celebration is rocking in Miami Gardens. Ford BCS postgame report. A huge contingent of Mountaineer faithful, the players coming over to remind Dr. Lou that he shouldn't have talked about Sammy Watkins and Clemson quite so much. And aren't you glad they won? Certainly the Mountaineers are. How about Geno Smith, who grew up in the shadows of this stadium, Miramar, Florida, coming in, throwing more than 400 yards, 6 touchdowns. 70 to 33. You know, the first 3 BCS games were decided by a grand total of 13 points, and then West Virginia came rolling into the BCS and changed all of that. Touchdown after touchdown after touchdown.
Well, just a great performance on offense. What happens on defense, you try to stop everything, and you end up stopping nothing. They should have played zone tackled. They would have never given up 70.
This is the best of West Virginia offense looked the entire season under Dana Holgorsen. I think the time off between their last game and the Orange Bowl had them well prepared and ready for this football game. They were hitting on all cylinders.
70 points in this bowl game, a record. As you heard the guys on Sportscenter mention a moment ago, Baylor held the record for about a week, and now West Virginia has the new record.
Maybe West Virginia will hold a week. Maybe Alabama, LSU will break it.
Well, they'll play tackle football.
Yeah, they'll tackle there.
When we get to the national championship game in New Orleans. You know, Dana Holgorsen told me after the game, the offense is still a work in progress. He's a perfectionist, but it was a splendid performance by Geno Smith and Tavon Austin and a variety of receivers for the Mountaineers tonight.
And they made big play after big play. It seemed that Clemson just couldn't stop this offense for West Virginia in this football game. Whatever they wanted to do, bubble screen, reverses, throwing the ball vertically, Clemson could not stop the West Virginia offense, and they were at their mercy tonight. They probably could have scored 100 points if they really wanted to put the pedal to the metal. And Geno Smith in this game was absolutely brilliant for the Mountaineers. He was hitting on everything. No matter where he threw the ball in this game, he was 31 of 42, 401 yards, 6 touchdowns, and was perfect protecting the football, no interceptions. And what I liked about him is he was in rhythm with all of his wide receivers. When he dropped back in the pocket, he got rid of the ball when he wanted to. He connected short, medium, and deep with the football.
Well, and we talked about the speed of West Virginia's wide receivers. It was really obvious today. And I think when you look at this West Virginia football team, it's hard to believe in their last 4 conference games, there was 4 points difference. They lost 1 by 3, 1 2 by 3, and 1 by 1. I think the Big East is definitely underrated.
Tavon Austin caught this little flip pass that Dana Holgorsen said he got from a buddy of his who was a coach at Colorado School for the Mines, and they continually scored on it. Holgorsen will reach anywhere for a ball play.
Well, it's easier. You aren't going to fumble, and if he does drop it, it's an incomplete pass. So I think it's a brilliant way to run it.
Let me ask you about the turning point in the game, and it seems silly to say in a 70 to 33 game. Clemson is going in. They're on the 1-yard line, about to go up 24-21. Ellington fumbles. Darwin Cook goes 99 yards. Clemson was never the same after that.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. Let me tell you, every time West Virginia scored, they kicked off. Clemson got the ball. You have to answer it. You got to bounce back. Yeah, it's a bad break, but if you give the ball to the official, that's not going to happen. That just happened because West Virginia wanted to win the game more. Clemson's had a wonderful year, disappointing thing, but I promise you, that game or that one play did not affect the outcome of this game like everybody thinks.
I totally disagree. At that point of the game, if Clemson punches it in, they're ahead 24-21. Look at this team. They're very fragile mentally. They're not mentally tough. And what happened on this play, Darwin Cook was able to take it away and go 99 yards for the score for West Virginia. And this point of the game, you're looking at a game where Clemson's right in it. They're punching them. It's body punches back and forth in the first half of this football game. They were just deflated after that play. You saw their body language. Their heads were down. No. They were deflated after that play. They were never able to respond after that play.
But let me remind you this. Clemson scored about the first 3 times they had the ball, and every time West Virginia became more determined, they answered that, and that's what great teams do. They score, you come back and score. When you have something bad go to you, you're going to find out what you're made of. You're going to find out how competitive you are, how tough you are, and that we found out about West Virginia.
But after that play, what happened? West Virginia scored, Clemson shut it down. They couldn't get back on the scoreboard. They couldn't move the football. They were mentally out of the game from that point on.
I agree with you completely. However, had it not been that play, it would have been some other play that they would have shut the thing down. Somewhere along the line, that play would happen.
What are you, Kruskin? How do you know that?
Well, you mentioned that something bad happened. For the ACC, something bad happening has been playing in BCS games.
That's true.
They now fall to an abysmal 2-13 in BCS games since the advent of the BCS in 1998. They lost a heartbreaker last night in the Sugar Bowl, Virginia Tech falling to Michigan, and it's embarrassment tonight for Clemson at the hands of West Virginia. West Virginia, which, by the way, is headed to the Big 12. I talked to Oliver Luck on the sidelines. No bones about it. I know there's some legal wrangling. He says they are playing in the Big 12 next year, period.
And I heard a radio interview with him near the fourth quarter, and he said, we're totally committed to the Big 12 next year. That means in the year 2012, this year, they're going to play. And I got to tell you something. There are a lot of folks in the Big East say, boy, am I glad they're gone.
It might be.
There's some coaches saying, boy, I'm glad.
If they're going to get better than they played tonight, be relieved. Mark, I want to ask you quickly. Now, Clemson, this looked like a great way to finish the season, winning the ACC and getting to a BCS game. What does this do to the Tigers now for their offseason and going into next year?
They've got to go back to the drawing board. I think head coach Dabo Swinney and his staff have to get together and figure out what they're going to do from this point on. If you're looking at the Clemson football team, this is their major stage to make a statement nationally. Not only with recruiting, but to make a statement across this country. They're not the same old Clemson. Well, guess what? They are the same old Clemson. They can't win on a national stage. They can't win that big game, and they haven't done it for decades.
Do you hear what the fans are asking you to do, Lou? What? They're saying, put it on. Put it on. Put on the West Virginia shirt. The West Virginia native. The native of West Virginia, as Geno Smith is walking up to our stage. Lou thinks he's getting the hero's welcome. It's actually Geno Smith who's getting it right now. Hey, you didn't throw 6 touchdown passes, but he did for sure. All right, Geno, come on out here. We got a microphone.
Congratulations, Geno. Great performance.
Congratulations. Great homecoming for you.
Hey, Geno, we heard Tavon Austin say after the game that you guys drew some motivation from the amount of talk you heard about Sammy Watkins and the Clemson offense. What kind of motivation did you get from that?
I'd be lying if I said, we didn't watch ESPN and see, the whole nation covered in red besides the state of West Virginia. And, that gave us motivation. We needed to go out there and, just play hard. We didn't need any extra motivation. It's an Orange Bowl, and, we all want to come out and execute, and I think that's what we did today.
What was this transition this year like for you into Dana's offense?
It was, a smooth transition. I had my ups and downs, but, Coach Hogan's a guy who, he demands perfection. And, I demand that out of myself as well. And, I think, we did a good job at executing this offense tonight.
What do you feel about going into the Big 12?
I feel, are we in it?
I don't know.
Your athletic director says you are in it.
Well, if we're in it, I welcome the challenges in the Big 12. It's a great conference, and they have a lot of talent. So, we got to get on our grind, when we get back.
Geno, how satisfying is it for you to come home in your own backyard and play the game that you played tonight? 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
I couldn't imagine, this happening. I've been working hard, all season and all week preparing for this game. I knew Clemson was going to test us. They have great athletes, and, I just wanted to come out and make sure that I executed the game plan, and, that's what I did.
I think they love you.
Oh, man, I love you too, man. Virginia, man, the greatest fans in the world.
They are. I picked you.
Oh, thank you, man.
He's always wanting a pat on the back.
I believe.
Geno, congratulations.
He's a pick guy.
But Geno,
I understand.
He changed ties to West Virginia colors after the game.
Did you lose a bet?
Geno Smith, the MVP of the 2012 Discover Orange Bowl. Great job, Geno. Congratulations. Thanks for coming up here and spending time with us.
Outstanding performance.
One of the class young men in college football who had a tremendous performance here on the floor tonight. Let's see, Lou's still a little mad at him for beating South Florida, but he'll get over it, I'm sure. The crowd loving Geno Smith and all West Virginia fans loving what they saw from their Mountaineers. Like the song says, almost heaven. This has to feel like heaven indeed for the Mountaineers tonight.
Postgame report.